Hey everyone, welcome back to West Coast Mopars. So today on the channel, this is my buddy Shane's 57 Dodge Crusader. So this is a Canadian car. Some guys call it a Plodge. You're mixing up a Plymouth with a Dodge. So what it is it's actually a 57 Plymouth four-door body, but it uses a Dodge 57 Dodge nose. So front fenders, hood, grille, hood emblems, lettering, everything like that. But inside the car, it has a 57 Plymouth gauge cluster that reads Dodge. So it's sort of a oddball Canadian car, but pretty neat to see. Now I'm pretty sure this is original paint, original sheet metal. Like, look how clean this thing is. And it's got I think it's a 303 poly, but it's a A-series engine. So it's not like your early Hemi poly, but the other one, the Plymouth one. It's got these cool taillights. I apologize, it's getting a little dark outside. I thought I would just get a quick walk around of the car. I've got a little bit of work to do on it for him. I've got to do rear brakes and remake the brake lines. He just dropped it off today and asked if I could go through it. He's from Campbell River, so 2 hours north of here. He drove it down here, no issues. But he bought it from an old guy, or at least the old guy's family. I think the old guy bought it new in 57. But it's got this cool sort of Lancer emblem on the trunk, but that's a Plymouth trunk lid emblem. It's got some mix match of parts here. It's got reverse lights. It's got that cool bumper. It's missing the emblem on this side, but he's got it on the other side. Let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, Crusader. So the Crusader, I believe, was the base model. Dodge Mayfair was the same body style, Plymouth body with a Dodge nose. That was a high trim level. There's also the Regent. There's a couple models. But I'll show you the interior once I drive it in the shop here. You guys can get a better look at it. You know, it's got some character, but the glass is all in great shape. The body's really straight. It's weird because it's got dual rear antennas and dual mirrors. But it's a four-door base model, so it's got some interesting things on it. It's got these really cool hubcaps that he put on there. But yeah, here I'll pull it in the shop and we'll get a better look at the engine, interior, underneath. So yeah, here it is in the shop. It's got this sort of old salmon colored paint job. He's just showed me this cool ESSO sticker. 1978, it shows it's got 71,248 miles. So we're now 2025, and it reads 75,928 miles. And he bought it. It had been sitting for years in a storage yard in Comox. And so he's done lots of work to it. He did a Scarebird front disc kit, which is the same as on my 57 over there. He's done a bunch of engine work, fuel work. He just asked if I could do the rear brakes because he's having trouble getting the hub off because it's a tapered axle. But it's got that cool gauge cluster, but it reads Dodge because it's a weird Canadian car. He's got a radio. A lot of neat stuff in this car. I like this thing. Headliner's a little rough, but you know, they all are in this era. Got original seats in it, original door panels, rubber floor. Yeah, it's actually in really good shape. It's got the V's there. So the Plymouth's always had a V. If you got a V8, you got that. And he's got same front bumpers as me, right? 57 Dodge. But he doesn't have the teeth on it. Somebody's added these on mine because it's that's a custom Royal thing. So the Royals just got no teeth. It runs really good. Two barrel carb on it still. He's got this cool generator on here. So this is actually, it's a conversion. It's an alternator in a generator body, and it's just a one-wire unit. Runs back to a voltage regulator. That's actually an updated version, but it looks old. So it's pretty neat. You sort of pop the hood and you see sort of a old looking generator in there. But yeah, he's put a dual master on it, but yeah, the brake lines are original. It's got those tires, I don't know if they're bias ply or radials, but he's hummed and hawed about taking them off for a while, but just because they're so old, but they still, I mean, they hold air. They haven't failed yet. They definitely suit the car. Okay, wheels off. I've done this before and I've recorded it before, but I'll show you guys what to do. So you start, this is a tapered rear axle. So if you guys have heard that term, what it means is that the end of the axle shaft is tapered and the hub and the drum are one. So when the hub goes onto the axle and gets tightened down with this nut, it's like a ball joint taper, right? Where you have to use, a ball joint, use a pickle fork, or you got to shock the part that's going over the taper to get it to loosen off or come free. This is the same idea. You can't just pull this drum off. You take the nut off, take the cotter pin out, nut off, and then you have to use a puller. And I've got the puller here. It's this guy. I'll show you guys how to use it. It's a special Chrysler puller for a tapered hub. But it's not, sometimes they come off really easy, sometimes they're an absolute pain. Okay, start by taking the nut off. Easy as that. There is a washer here that comes off. And then you just got to set the puller up on it. So you use the studs. If you got studs, you use lug nuts or you use the bolt-in studs. These go this way, and you just got to hook them onto your puller. So there's a groove in the puller. So these go in, they start out in the groove. Oops, going the wrong way here. Start out in the groove. You just work it around. So it's got a little pin on the end, and that's supposed to go against the hub puller, against the axle shaft. Okay, I've got the puller on there. I've got some tension on it right now. I tighten the nut down. You just want to use the arms, you sort of stagger them. I usually do two on the top, one on the other side. But you just want to hit the end of this with a hammer. I'm using a huge sledgehammer. Yeah, it's going to be a fight. I can tell already. There's no give in anything. Oops. Notice I just do a little bit. I'm not cranking on it. I'm just doing a little bit at a time. Okay, one of his studs came out. Interesting. Well, worst case, if I destroy his drum, I do have a bunch of others, so I will replace his drum with another one, because this is clearly, actually this one's got an X right on it. Somebody's already stripped this one. This one's stripped, so I'm going to have to move this around a little bit and try and get a stud in there, and then move the others. So, okay, I had to move around the orientation. I actually put a stud in the top one that had the X. So when I took his wheels off, he didn't even have a stud in here. He just had 4. So I did manage to get one in there, but this whole setup's definitely not happy. I assume I'm going to have to replace his axle shaft because the end is going to be mushroomed, and this drum, because this drum is not coming off. We're stripping where the studs go in. It's all getting stripped. So that's not the end of the world. He's a good friend of mine, and I'd rather just help him out and see him enjoy keeping the car on the road. I don't need that many rear ends with axles, so we'll leave his rear end alone, but we'll probably end up changing the axle and the drum. But no big deal. It's a worthy cause. It's a good car. Okay, well the hub puller could not get it off, and we ended up stripping 2 of the the threaded holes there for the studs. So I do have a couple parts cars. I'm going to go source in the back some of these studs, but also, or studs, I should say bolts, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to pull this. It's a little mushroomed on the end, and he did mention that. He had already sort of mushroomed it, trying to get it off. So rather than deal with this stupid thing, oh, and all I did, if you guys are wondering, I just cut the rivets with a grinder. So you can see where the rivets were. And then these are bad, right? So I'll find another axle. There's probably another hub back there. One that I think I actually have, if I'm thinking right, there's one that I pulled off a rear end because I was looking for these springs, and the whole thing came out really easy. So I'll probably just go grab that assembly. I'll change this wheel cylinder, change this axle shaft and this thing, and put it back together. Okay, so here's where we're at. I've got the backing plate off, it's right there. That's the drum adjuster, or the shoe adjuster. His shoes are there. I've got his hub here. It was quite rusty inside, like I think it just rusted itself to the axle shaft. It's just been on there a long time. So now I've got to pull the axle out. There's some shims here I think I have to take off, and then pull the axle out. The book says use a tool to pull the axle. I'm hoping it'll just come out. Okay, I got the axle shaft out. So that was actually a bit complicated. What there is they've got the race here, but the race does not sit this way with the taper facing out. It actually tapers in, and what they do is you put the axle shaft in first, then they put the race over top of it. They hammer the race into the axle tube so that it basically traps the bearing in there, and that's what keeps the axle in. So look at there's the tapered wheel bearing, and see how it tapers down towards the outside. That threaded end is the outside. That's where the hub goes. They taper the bearing that way, so the race actually, yeah, it traps the axle shaft inside the housing. So all I did was I took like a drift, like this guy, and I put it against the nut, because I mean the nut's already, this whole thing's already bad anyways. I put it against the nut and I hammered on the end right here towards me to knock the race out of the housing. Now it does say in the service manual to use a certain tool. They always just say tool C99 or whatever. I have no idea what that is. There's no picture of it. I don't have it. So this worked. So when I go to do the other one, at least I have an idea now how to get it out. So I'm just going to cram some paper towel in there so it doesn't drip all night. And tomorrow I will go in the back and dig around and find an axle shaft with a good threaded end and another hub and another drum. Okay, so here's what I come up with. I pulled out another axle, but if you look at this axle, so it's the axle closer to me here. Look at this here, like right on the edge there, there's like a cast in sort of ridge there. That's the new axle. And then they're the same length, they're just laying a bit funny, but there's the other end. It's all the same, except the old one seems to have more of a taper down at the end here. Yeah, weird. And it's sort of smoothed off more like where the splines would be. Anyways, it'll be fine. It's the same length. It should be the same spline count. It may be because this car we're working on is a Canadian car, and this axle, I believe, came out of my 57 Royal Parts car, which is an American car. So that might be what we got going on. This hub actually had studs in it, so maybe that's another American versus Canadian car thing. I don't know. Yeah, 57 Royal Parts car has studs. 57 Royal, nice one over there, had bolts. This car has bolts. I've got another 57 Custom Royal with bolts. Yeah, it's all over the map. So somebody may have put them in. But anyways, I got this hub out. So this hub we're going to use because it's got studs. And then that way we don't have to worry about stripped threads like the hub that we took out of his car. So he's got the keyway there. I'll just clean up the inside where the taper goes. Clean out the keyway area, put that one in. The Woodruff key or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we'll get the new axle in, new hub on, and then we'll reuse his drum. And all I might have to do is drill these holes a little bigger for where the studs go through, because they've got those swedges on the inside there. So yeah, piece by piece, we're getting it back together. Yeah, I'm over here just turning the drum. That came off the parts car, or sorry, the parts car, the rear end in the backyard. That's for parts. So I had done the driver's side, and Shane said, "Well, would you mind doing the passenger side? Because then all four wheels will have studs instead of the bolts." When I say the bolts, I'm talking about these. These are, you know, you see these on like a Volkswagen. This is Chrysler used these as well in the 50s, but not every car had them. I think it depends where it was built. Okay, there it is turned, but we get a nice clean surface. This was solid rust before, and it was super grooved. I don't know, I should have shown it before, but it was not. I would never put it on a set of shoes the way that it was. It would definitely have ruined them. And it had a huge lip on the edge here, which it's like it hadn't been turned ever. So the shoes had worn down the drum so much that there was an overhang. It was actually kind of hard to get the drum off the shoes because of that lip. I couldn't adjust them in any further. Anyways, I'm just going to spray it out with some brake clean. There's a bunch of metal shavings and stuff and filings from the lathe. Okay, those brakes are done. I had a little bit of issues with the rears bleeding for some reason. There's kind of a funky distribution block going on. I don't know. Maybe it's for this, maybe it's not. I don't know. But anyways, it's just warming up. I just fired it up, backed it out of the shop, and it's got a funny little vibration, but it's also cold. It hasn't run at all in a few days. So he's just on his way here to pick the car up. And I thought I'd do one last walk around. You guys could actually see it in the daylight. When he got the car, the bumper here had been twisted down. It got caught on a trailer or something, it was in a storage yard. Somebody whacked the corner, which is too bad. But those tires are ancient, old tubeless tires. First generation of a radial, I think. Anyways, when it's warm, it runs great, but I just backed it out. I didn't really give it a chance. But I'll just let it run here, and yeah, anyways guys, thanks for watching another one, and we will see you. Oh, there it goes. Yep, I should have let it warm up. Anyways, we will see you on the next one.